Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here today and give you my perspective on the new PGA 2K25, specifically the developer diary that was released today for the My Player and My Career. I think I've got a pretty good perspective as I've played nearly every golf game ever created, um, as well as I'm in the industry right now selling putters. Um, so the big main thing I want you guys to think about is I think they're trying to make this more in line with NBA 2K when it comes to the My Player and the My Career, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because at its core, 2K has a good system for leveling up your player. Now, we can debate about, the fact that it's, expensive to build a guy in NBA 2K. I'll be interested to see, how much money slash VC we're going to have to actually put in these guys for them to be viable to play online against somebody else competitively. But yeah, just look for that. And then I'm kind of just going to comment on things that I think are really going to be good for the game.
Can expect from my career within PJ.
Yeah, so right off the top, I mean, adding the PGA Championship, the Open Championship, and the U.S. Open, clearly a good thing. Um, it only adds to that realistic feel of the game. Um, there's just something about playing a tournament with super generic um, sponsors or even the wrong sponsors. Um, there's something about that is just it takes you out of the game. So I'm glad they're doing this, and hopefully one day we'll get the Masters as well. Even though I'm sure that's an expensive license to get.
We'll be including the
Just real quick, I just felt like I need to say these graphics are so much better. I was just playing 2K23 the other day, a game that I still play all the time, and it's just no contest. I mean, and that makes sense because they're making the game for the new systems. My opinion is that we need to use the stick, and that's all that needs to be used in competitive matches. I doubt that that will happen, um, but we'll see. Maybe.
2K25 includes a brand new high resolution terrain system, complete with revised ball physics, that allow the ball to roll and react to terrain with much more accuracy than before. Our all new shot prediction system allows us to predict exactly where your shot will go the moment the ball leaves the club face. This allows our commentators to react in real time, just as they would on TV.
Okay, so the commentator thing, that's cool. Awesome little bit there that they add in there. But this is one of the things I hope they changed most in this new iteration of the game is the rolling physics. And if you've ever played, simulator golf or really any digital golf, that's kind of the toughest thing to get down is to get the bounce and the roll accurate. And I think that's something that EA Sports, their golf game, did really well. Um, and something that I think 2K lagged behind on. But hopefully it's going to fix it this year and it's going to be super realistic when it comes to roll and bounce.
also have practice rounds, which will give the player an opportunity to get a lay of the land on a course they are unfamiliar with.
Yeah, practice rounds, cool. Love it. I just don't know. I feel like I'm going to get tired of doing practice rounds um, at some point. But I guess if it's a course then obviously you don't need to do the practice round.
And special
Your ideal golfer. Choosing the archetype you think best suits your playstyle is the foundation to build out the rest of your skills and attributes. In PGA Tour 2K25, you can choose from green.
Okay, so this is probably a minority opinion, but I don't really see why we need the archetype here if we're going to be building out our character with attributes.
For 2K25, we've also added the ability to have multiple My Players.
And this is where we really start getting into, them pushing and melding and meshing this game into something like NBA 2K My Career, because you can have multiple builds in NBA 2K, and I love that you can do that here. It just gives you, the ability to make whoever you want, but also, you know, different iterations of that player. That way you can have a different experience with different players and not just have to play with one player the whole time.
This allows attributes are the core My Player stats that affect your base swing and putting mechanics, and each archetype has its own set of starting attributes that are reflective of the specific playstyle. To improve these attributes, you use
Okay, so here we really get into um, the push to make this more like NBA 2K, which this is a great thing. This is the big thing that we're missing last year and in 2021 is the ability for your player just to have simple attributes that you can increase by, it looks like, getting VC here. We'll see, you know, if this is going to turn into a thing where it's pay to play, probably. But that being said, this is a much better system, being able to level up your person with the attributes rather than only relying on the archetype um, to do that.
use VC to apply attribute points. As you level up and assign attribute points to your different stats, your overall rating will increase, which is a measure of your total attribute ceiling. By default, each My Player has enough attribute points unlocked to progress to OVR 85. Once you
Overall 85, that's exactly what it's like in 2K. And it usually costs, off the top of my head, I think it usually costs $50 to get enough VC to get your guy to 85 to begin with. So, it does look like we're going to be paying $50 for every single build to start out. Um, but, like I said, that's just something we have to deal with. But this is a better system. One thing I'm thinking about is in 2K, if your player is under an 85, you have virtually no way of competing against other people online. It's just impossible. So I'm curious to see, and I'm sure they'll do this in later developer diaries. I'm curious to see, if we're going to have to get to that 85 to be competitive, or if there's something they've altered to make that a different experience.
reach that level, you must earn XP through completing rounds and objectives to increase your OVR to the 99 OVR cap. Once you reach an OVR of 90 with one of your My Players, you unlock Rebirth. This
Rebirth. Oh man. Now talk about 2K, NBA 2K. This is literally exactly out of the NBA 2K playbook. Once you get to 90 overall, then you'll be able to build another build, and that build will already be able to get up to that overall level. And in 2K, it allows you to start with more of your badges. We'll be interested to see if this allows us to start with so many skill points, or maybe even start with some fittings. But yeah, I mean, right out of the 2K playbook. And again, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Even though we're going to be spending money on it again, probably. This is a good thing.
gives all newly created skills in 2K25 have been completely overhauled with new branching trees for each discipline on the course. Each tree is populated with a ton of all new shot types and the ability to improve your proficiency for each type. There are 5 main skill trees to choose from: tee skills, approach skills, recovery skills, bunker skills, and green skills.
Okay, so obviously this is a different system than we had in PGA 2K23, where it was a convoluted chart where you really didn't know what it was doing, because it was telling you, well, if this condition happens, then you activate this. So I see a little bit of that here, but I'm hoping that this is a little more streamlined and we know exactly what we're getting when we upgrade with one of these points or one of these skills. Um, Also, this differs a little bit from NBA 2K because in NBA 2K you have what they call badges, and your badges have a certain amount that it's a maximum that you'll be able to get to over time. This is a little different, so we'll see how this works out. Um,
There are a limited number of skill points available, which limits players to about 2/3 of the skills. How you choose to spend your skill points will be key.
so basically, what they're saying is theoretically, we're not going to have golfers who are, you know, 99 in everything with every single skill and the ability to do every single thing. So, yeah, that sounds really good on paper. Uh, but we'll see if people find a way to, really build their people, their guys or their golfers to a point to where they are that dominant.
Much like attribute points, to create the ideal golfer for you. In PGA Tour 2K25, we're introducing equipment progression, the ability to earn experience on the clubs and balls that you choose to take into each round. Clubs will have the ability to be leveled up by set. Players can level up their clubs by either continually playing rounds with chosen set of clubs, or by using level up tokens that they have earned or purchased. The level of your club will determine the amount of fitting slot it has. Level 1 clubs have 1 fitting slot available, Level 2 have 2, and so on. Fittings are back but very different, being used to improve the performance of your club that benefit layered on top of your My Player attributes. They are at the core of our new equipment progression system, and our new approach is focused on simplifying things by making fittings universal. If your club uses that fittings attribute, you can equip it, reducing the number of attributes on a fitting, increasing the number of fittings that can be equipped to a club as you progress, allowing a single fitting to be applied to the entire set of clubs by type, and finally, removing the VC cost to fit a club. Yes, fitting a set of clubs is now free with any fitting in your inventory.
Okay, so they've done or they've made some good changes here. It's cool that you can level up your clubs. Glad they made the fittings free to put on. That was ridiculous that you had to pay for that. Um, but I just do not like the fitting. Uh, I don't like having fittings on the clubs. It's too complicated. It takes too long to set all your fittings. You in the last game you'd get a fitting every time that you played an online game, and you could only have 100 of them. So you had to sit there and delete, 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 and it took forever to do so. I don't like any of this. I wish they would just take away everything to do with this. Just make it to where the clubs are cosmetic only. Um, but that's wishful thinking. So hopefully this doesn't change too bad. Um, or hopefully this changes for the better.
Journey through the ranks and onto your way to becoming the greatest of all time on the PGA Tour.
My final thoughts. I can't wait for this game to come out. It's going to be so good. Yeah, there's some things here or there that still are going to need tweaking. Hopefully, they can continue to do that as they make more of these games. But I think they're just on a great road right here. And I really didn't think I'd ever say this, but making this like 2K's My Career, My Player is the best path forward. Granted, 2K sometimes, can be very not fun sometimes. Um, but I think this game will be fun.